Of all the fighting game series that normally transition from arcades to consoles, Tekken has long been the most generous with its extra features. And in recent years, the goal of unlocking and customizing outfits for the game's large cast has rounded out the most rewarding objective of all: getting good. Tekken 7 keeps most of the series' traditions alive, and once again delivers the tight, hard-hitting action Tekken is known for. Though it stumbles a little online and fails to teach new players how to fight, it's otherwise a great fighting game that confidently claims its position among the best fighting games today. Similar to Dead or Alive and Virtua Fighter, Tekken 7 is a 3D fighting game and thus plays quite differently than its side-scrolling cousins. There are Tekken 7 characters that are more mobile than others, though by and large this is a game of inches. A moment of indecision or a sloppy move against a more skilled player can lead to a string of pummeling strikes and a hasty death, courtesy of the game's long combo strings. The biggest complaint you can lob at Tekken 7 is that it doesn't do a good job of explaining the intricacies of its mechanics, let alone how you should approach learning your character of choice. Move lists often hover around 100 entries, serving a mix of one-off special attacks and combos. There's no tutorial mode to speak of, so the best you can do is hop into training mode and shift from one move to the next. None of this is to say that Tekken 7 is too deep, which would be a ridiculous complaint. The depth of its roster and fighting styles is to your benefit. The point is that new players will have very little help learning anything beyond the basics once they jump into battle. But if this isn't your first King of Iron Fist tournament, and you've kept up with Tekken over its more than 20-year tenure, you will find that Tekken 7 delivers the same great combat you know and love, with a hefty batch of new characters and a few new mechanics. There are notable new super moves that can be triggered when a player's health is dangerously low, which is also the right time to unleash a Rage Drive attack, a powered-up standard combo. The most important new addition, however, is the Power Crush attack attribute. Relevant attacks can absorb incoming hits mid-animation, allowing you to risk a little health to increase your chances of landing a critical blow. And this injects Tekken's otherwise familiar fights with a renewed element of surprise. But the most conspicuous addition to Tekken 7 must be Akuma, the red-haired bad guy of Street Fighter fame. The introduction of fireballs and hurricane kicks might seem like an odd fit for Tekken, but they don't feel overpowered in light of the fact that every character exhibits unique advantages in battle. Street Fighter fans will appreciate how easy it is to fight as Akuma, as many of his traditional moves and inputs are present and accounted for. Even Street Fighter's meter-based mechanics have been carried over for his Tekken debut. More interestingly, Akuma plays a pivotal role in the main story. Hailed as the final chapter in the series' long-running tale of martial arts papa Heihachi Mishima and his quarreling family, Tekken 7's main story will delight long-standing Tekken fans. The only major downfall here is the robotic and stale narrator.
In the darkness, a fellow reporter visited me and offered me a ray of hope in the form of an expose on G Corporation.
His delivery is too shallow to take seriously, and yet not witty enough to make his deadpan cadence funny. Beyond the 2 to 3 hours spent on the main story, every character not present therein gets their own brief chapter, limited to a short text intro, a single fight, and a unique ending cutscene. Not all are created equal, but there are gems to find that are purposefully awkward and lighthearted. Admirers of the alien samurai Yoshimitsu will, for example, appreciate how he's initially humanized and made vulnerable in his story, only to be subsequently kneed in the groin by the object of his affection. As such, Tekken 7 has no trouble living up to the series' reputation for tongue-in-cheek shenanigans, and generously gives you access to the series' entire back catalog of cutscenes. From the very first Tekken's low-res cutscenes, all the way to background clips made specifically for Japanese pachinko machines. There's a lot of Tekken history to unlock, and browsing the collection is a wonderful trip down memory lane.
What did you just say?
You heard me, I said this food sucks! You expect us to eat this stuff?
What do you mean it sucks?
This pepper beef is too damn spicy!
Using fight money earned by playing the game's various modes, you can purchase both these cutscenes, but also cosmetic items for characters. These include neon butterfly wings, a floating clownfish companion, and automatic rifles, to name a few. While you certainly don't need to dress up fighters in ridiculous outfits, doing so will give you a new appreciation for how comfortable Tekken 7 is in its own skin. On the one hand, it's a hardcore and demanding fighting game, but it's also happy to be the butt of its own jokes. Additional items can also be unlocked, rather than purchased, within the Treasure Battle mode, which puts you in a series of fights with increasing rewards and challenges. There is a training mode and an arcade mode where you can practice your moves, but Treasure Battle is easily the most attractive way to spend your off time in Tekken 7. After all, if you're going to practice your moves before hopping online to fight, you might as well have something cool to show for it. Presently, a few days after launch, Tekken 7's online modes are experiencing a few issues across all platforms. And while these are mostly isolated to ranked matches, it's not uncommon to lose connections in casual matches either. It's an issue that Bandai Namco is aware of and plans to fix, but at the moment it's not always easy to get into a match unless you're willing to hammer attempts for minutes on end. Notwithstanding that online play is currently a crapshoot, Tekken 7 remains an easy game to recommend. Its diverse roster is packed with a wide range of personalities and fighting styles, bolstered by a raucous attitude that begs to be taken seriously while simultaneously mocking its more peculiar whims in the process. Tekken fans will find their next favorite fighting game, one that's a product of decades worth of refinement. And while some of this depth will be lost or out of reach for newcomers, there's enough fun to be had outside of hardcore competition to keep players from all walks of gaming thoroughly entertained.